Ready.
It being 9 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Are you going to call attendance?
Yeah. Okay. Member Hamilton,
Here.
member Heath,
Here.
member Gaglio,
Here.
member Conant,
Present.
and member Geisinger is absent. We do need to make a motion and support the absence of member Geisinger.
Do I hear a motion,
F.
Joe?
Second?
Here.
Okay.
We need to approve the minutes of the meeting we had on August 18th, 2025.
Sorry, I missed a step. Missed a step. Yes, so
All those in
all of
favor?
those in favor of
Aye.
the excusing member Geisinger, all of those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we move on to the minutes. Sorry.
Is there any public comment at this time?
Oh, we need to make a motion support for the minutes
From the last meeting?
from the August 18th meeting.
The clerk would like a
Make a
motion.
motion approved.
Do we have a second to approve the minutes? Okay, all of those in favor?
Aye.
All of those opposed? Motion carried. Then,
Now, public comment?
yes,
Sensing none, we'll move on to old business.
actually, yeah. Yep. So no old business.
Okay. So there must be new business.
And you can go ahead and read that case number off.
We're here for the purpose of case number PMA 2501, Clarissa Rasco, 340 West Chicago Street, Coldwater, Michigan, 49036, PMC appeal. Might I assume you're Ms. Grasco?
Yes.
Okay. We've received a Board of Appeals application. I don't see a date on it, which maybe it doesn't matter, but
Dated.
do I get to move this?
I'll move it if there's something in particular that you want to see.
There are a number of code sections that you are appealing. And you state that you couldn't agree to a 48-hour dangerous plan. You had a better plan and it was ignored, and you especially object to the 10-day notice of trash, which is not up for grabs, by calling it trash.
Which is a commodity of sheet metal and other metals. It's been moved around the corner of the building, so it's not visible by any of the neighbors, so that it is not visible, and that is more in compliance with your, code.
Okay,
The
I
regular-
think she'll talk louder now.
I think you stated there were tools in the accumulation.
Things in my yard that you start off grass, that you're not gonna, I've had this happen before. They wanna, because I've been in the construction business all my life, I'm in the restaurant business all my life, and there may be something sitting in my yard that you think is junk. And somebody can take that off my property and make money from it. Agree with that. Case in point, I had a camper trailer that was stripped down to just the frame. And somebody came on my property and stole it. That's theft. And if your ordinance allows somebody to come on there with a dump trailer, which is how the process works, and just start throwing things from my property in that dump trailer, there's gonna be things that end up in that dump trailer that that person can take and go and sell. And I call that thievery. I don't want anybody in my yard taking thing, whatever they wanna call junk and throw it in some trailer. I don't think that's fair.
So you have secured the things that you think are valuable.
That's correct, young lady, according to the city ordinances.
Okay,
Could I have your name, or is it all right if I call you young lady? It's easier for me to just say young lady. I have a hard time retaining names. I have some brain damage, if you can't tell.
well, I like being called young lady.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'm Diana Honet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite people, Princess Diana.
Oh. All right, so where are we now? You had 48 hours on some things and 10 days on other things. And you stated that you have sorted the items that were outside of the building and needed to be secured. And you've done that. And what's happened inside the building?
What's inside of the building is. And if you don't catch all this, please, let me give a chance to say it all over again. Because it's a little complicated for somebody that has not spent their life building. And you see this falling in. But if you send somebody in there to start tugging that stuff down on top of it, can your brain see that that person is in danger? My plan is to hire a structural engineer that will come in and say, and I know more about the building than you can see by these pictures. But he can say, if we put a wall right here, that takes some of that pressure off of that falling. And then somebody can come in from a different angle and tear that out more safely than being underneath it and pulling it down on top of them. That's ludicrous to me, and I'm not gonna have anybody do that. And I think that I've stated in the paperwork, I've been an employer since 1998. That building is a commercial building and it was a factory building, and OSHA has been all over that building since the 1950s. And in order for me to hire somebody to come in there, knowing what I know, putting that person in danger is setting me up for a liability, and I refuse to do that. However, I would agree that if a structural engineer comes in and starts to shore the building up to make this, whatever you wanna call it, droopiness, is that a good word to call it? If he comes in and says, you shore it up this way, you come at it this way, and then that person will be safe, that's how I want to approach it. And I have an appointment on October 15th. I've interviewed a few different structural engineers. I don't know if the people in this room know what a structural engineer is, but you know what an architect is. An architect compared to a structural engineer is, an architect is the person that just colors the coloring book. The structural engineer is the one who printed the coloring book out in the first place. He's the one that drew the solid lines to make the pictures. The architect and color.
So the letter that you received hand delivered from the city that you were in violation, that was in June.
It's Friday the 13th at 9 o'clock in the morning on Father's Day weekend, and I've got 48 hours to get somebody in there to pull, and they're even telling me, I can't remember exactly who, will have somebody come in there, well, maybe it was Samantha. Well, do you know anybody that will come in there and just start pulling that lat down? No, I don't know anybody that I would subject that to. I do not. I wouldn't ask anybody to do that.
So it's been 3 months since you received the letter in June. And nothing has changed in the building?
I'm still waiting. I don't know if you've ever tried to hire, an architect, but they take a long time. If you can get them to make an appointment within 2 months, you're lucky. I mean, they're worse than doctors. I mean, they're terrible. And then they all, I don't mean it like that. Not terrible, but they're very, their process is very regimented. They wanna do the drawings in the winter, they wanna line up the jobs in the summer. They have a whole routine. They are the ones that are committing to the responsibility of the outcome. However, let's get to another point. The original architect that looked at this missed a design flaw, and that's why that building is falling in the first place, which I've gone over with Keith Baker, and which I've gone over with the builder that was chased out of there. He wasn't good enough or something. I don't know what the hell happened there. But this is what I'm gonna go over with the structural engineer, and then it'll be on paper, his approach how to tear that down. And when I get a structural engineer telling me this is the safe way to dismantle that building, then I will do that. But I'm not gonna do, what I would consider a layman at the city building tells me, well, can't you just get somebody in there to start pulling that down so it looks better? For who? Who's it look better? It ain't gonna look better to that guy that's underneath that. These beams, okay, you can see right here, this is really, quite cosmetic. But you can see that this is a structure here and it bears weight. Okay, when all those boards are together, they're at least together, they're not on the ground. You start pulling that, and it's gonna eventually get to these structural boards, and if you pull on it wrong, it's gonna all come down top line. I don't know why anybody can't see that, other than me.
So what I get from you is your plan to correct the conditions of the building are to meet with a structural engineer
I haven't
in
hired
another month.
that is- yes. He's coming,
Okay, and then
then
he,
he's gonna do drawings, and he's gonna show, which I can take you in there. I can take somebody with a little bit of experience, and I can say, well, right here's where I'm gonna tell him where I want sport put, so it makes it safer for that guy. You know, I know that a lot of people think this is tooting horns or whatever, but I was married to a man, Steve Grosco. He was a licensed contractor. He worked all around this town and all around this area, in the Litchfield area, all of his life. He could take 8 sticks and some string, and he could go out in the yard and start squaring it off with the stakes and the strings, and he could build a pole barn by himself all the way to the point where it was time to set the rafters. And he would be on one end, I would be on the other, my son would be in the middle, pulling the rafter up, and when it got straight with the levels where Steve said, okay, screw it down. That was next to that man. He built pole barn after pole barn after pole. That's how I know what that structure, the dangers of that structure.
but he's not involved in this building
He
at the
was,
present time.
passed away, yes, he's gone now. He died August 21st. In 2021.
So is there someone from the building department that will speak to what's being said? What her plan is?
Penny's unable to be here today. At this time, we were just trying to address the safety measures as far as securing the building was the most important thing. To not allow animals or any other people inside the building. As there are a few openings that are exposed to the elements. In addition to just getting the exterior of the property. Were our main points to try to address.
Is the building secure so that no kids or homeless people could get into the building?
No, but I do secure it and they bust the doors open again. And homeless people do go in there, and I reported it. They're, to the point where they're putting graffiti on it, and I've reported it. And, what do I do? What do I do? I would think that the city of Coldwater would have much better advantages to secure the homeless population having somewhere to sleep than come to me and say, hey, it's pretty easy for them to break in your building. I would think you guys would have some better solutions for the homeless people than saying it's my fault because my easy, but, yeah. And see this where that windows broke out? Well, some homeless guy's going in there and, boarded that up. Making that nice, maybe try sleeping right on it. I don't know what to do about the homeless population. I secure that building, they'll be breaking it open. It's been going on for years. In fact, the lady that works for Kathy White, she keeps busting the doors open and feeding stray cats. I've reported that for years. City doesn't have any ordinances to stop her from using my buildings to let animals, that she does it on purpose. I've complained to Kathy White, the chiropractor, and she just smiled at me. This is her employee's mission to feed stray cats around there and, yeah, there's stray cats around there. I have a picture and I don't know if it's this one or the other one. There's a cat down there and it's just covered with mange. I suppose that's my fault because I have an open window in my building.
So the building is not secure. Anyone can get in there, be harmed.
I secure it and they break back in. I secure it and they break back. I shut the doors, I put stuff in there to keep the doors shut and they come and they push the doors open. I can take you in that building and I can show you a place. While I was in Texas one winter, the chiropractor Kathy White, her employee came in there with a hammer and she busted floorboards up so that the cats could get down in there, and she had cat food down in there and she was feeding the cats inside my building. What am I supposed to do? Call the police and have her arrested? We all know, there's the board that they put back right there. I don't know who put that board back up there, but it wasn't me. Because right there on the other side of that door that's open
Must be-
is where all of those cross beams, I ain't sending nobody up there on either side of the building until that structural engineer comes in there.
Say something,
Well,
please.
I understand trying to make the building, structurally safe before anybody works on it, but it has to be secured. What do you call it secured? Just a locked door and that's it?
What am I supposed to do? I don't understand, sir. What else can I do about your homeless population and how they will go into a building where they see an advantage? How can you hold me responsible for what somebody else does to my property?
Perhaps, well, they use them for pole barns and stuff. It's a big deadlock bolt, bolts the door, slashes down and then goes into the door jamb and then you can put a padlock on it. It would take a small car to bust that thing down.
Okay, and I'm supposed to do that myself with this invalid body that I have to try to hire somebody nowadays. And not only that, if I send anybody in there for anything and they get hurt, I'm opening myself up to a liability because of the condition of the
Well,
building.
this wouldn't require going in the building. It'd just be securing the door. So that neighbors, homeless or, kids could get in there.
Over and over and over.
Apparently they're not secured enough.
Well, what do you wanna do? Do you wanna send your own person down there to secure them enough so that it takes the responsibility off my plate? Is that what you wanna do? You wanna send your own person down there to secure it? How about you? Are you licensed to do it?
Okay, I'm gonna intervene. We're not having a back and forth, and the board's purpose and role here is to hear your view of the claims that were raised in your appeal. It is not to make attacks or ask things. No,
I'm just looking for suggestions.
please
and help.
listen. Please don't make asks of members of the board.
I'm
They,
trying to do, I'm sorry if I offended you.
a part of the board's role here is to be able to ask questions of you.
It's not a, what you're scolding me for offending. When you start talking, things are really getting screwed up because all you wanna do is gaslight me. How about this right here where you're trying to arrest me for my conduct in the building when it was an employee here that took us swiping me? It's on film and you're telling me you're gonna arrest me. I don't really wanna hear anything from you because everything that comes out of your mouth gaslights my mental condition. You're telling me that I'm attacking him and I apologize to him and he says, I don't feel offended. Let's go around in the big old gaslight and say, hell lady. Let's do that because you
Ma'am.
love that game. You
Ma'am.
love that game.
We're
Ma'am?
trying to maintain some decorum.
That
Alright.
makes sense.
So, oh.
I
Nice.
do
one.
believe that. the
How long
gentleman-
have you owned this property?
Since 2013.
Well, I doubt you bought it in this condition, is that correct?
That's when I bought it, sir.
Really?
Yes, it was. A lot worse. Keith Baker's a witness to that, but I don't see him in this room. I don't see anybody that's gonna be on my side or stick up for me or say that anything, it's all poof, poof, poof on the crippled old lady. I can't even think straight. I cannot think through your lies and your ordinances and your whatever I'm not supposed to say. I cannot think through it. I cannot. So if somebody wants to start making some sense and telling the truth, I'm open to that.
Well, I think the letter that you received on the Friday of Father's Day weekend was the facts of the situation,
I know,
and therefore you're appealing.
that's why I'm appealing it, because here's one thing that I take, talking about taking offense to something.
So,
And
and
this whole piece of paper highlighted in yellow. I take that as a sense of aggression, that they had to take this and highlight every line as if I can't read. That, I was insulted as soon as I saw that. However, I don't look at things like you do, young lady, because I have severe brain damage. Do you know that? I had a tumor in my brain, undiagnosed for 5 years. It got to the point where it knocked me over. I fell, I hit my head. I was in ICU for 5 days. And they said, geez, Clarissa, the good news is your tumor hasn't grown. It had grown, but not very much. And then I had the tumor removed and the brain surgery was the worst.
so let's go back to the meeting you're gonna have with the structural engineer. And he's gonna give you a plan?
Yes, a structural engineer is like the analogy that I said. Have you ever, and you don't have to answer this, I'm just gonna go right through it, I'm just trying to give you a picture of how I look at things. If you ever had to hire an architect, I have, and let me tell you, an architect is the guy that only colors the picture. The structural engineer is the one that illustrated the coloring book. He's gonna show you where the black lines go to make it a cat. He's gonna come in there and he's gonna say, see how that's sagging right there? Well, the stuff that's sagging is nothing. If you were standing on it and that little plaster and lath decided to give way itself and hit you, you might need a Band-Aid. But if you start pulling that plaster or lath out of there and you pull one of those support beams, which some of the ends of them are rotted, I can't see that far. I need a structural engineer to say, if you start pulling that plaster and lath down and you pull one of them structure beams, now that's called a widowmaker and that'll kill somebody. And that's the part that I'm opposed to doing.
When you get the plan from the structural engineer, what will you do with it?
I will use his plan. And he is also an architect. So he will begin the repair on this building and he will begin with it step by step. We will go through together and I'll show you, I already know where the structure needs to be to make that safe or something. I already know where it's at. And I'll show that to him and he'll do it in a drawing. Then that drawing will be presented to the city. And then we will have a discussion about who I can hire for demo. To come in there and demo that in a safe way. The
So,
structural engineer will also have prints, this is interesting, please take a second to listen to this. What the structural, now see, you see that stuff coming down, but you don't see that. I can't use that for an example, but this floor is not level now because of all that. So he's gonna come in on the first floor and he's gonna have jacks and he's gonna have it measured right where the contractor is to set a jack. It's right down to the inch. He's gonna have, the contractor's gonna have a tape measure. He's gonna say, well, okay, we gotta go this far from this wall, that far from that wall, and we're gonna put a beam there. And then as they put these beams up, and I mean the little crank things, you've seen those, right? They're metal. They got a little jack on them, and they jack that up. Then he'll get it all level, and then you can come in and close that in, and then you'll have a wall there. to
The
hold that up.
engineer will do that.
The engineer will put it onto a plan. An architect won't do that.
But you're meeting with an engineer.
An engineer would. And this structural engineer is also an architect. So once he does his structural engineer part, we'll move him on to designing the 2 bathrooms upstairs, which is one thing that, Miss Albright is quite, Mrs. Albright is quite concerned about, because she thinks that, maybe I'm not aware that, I am aware. I am aware what kind of a drawing has to come to the city before you install that bathroom. I do know that. And she will
So
get that.
you're meeting with him in October
October 15th.
and gonna be the end of October before you get a plan from him.
Oh, at least it might take more like 2 months.
Well, you're into winter by the time,
And I started on this last winter.
What are your long-term plans for this building?
Well, I wanna get the roof fixed. That's what I wanna do at this point. I wanna get the roof fixed. And I've been going through all of this just because I wanted to get the roof fixed. I don't know how I got here, young man. I'm not right. Can't you tell how loud I'm talking and how confused I am? I don't know how I got here. All I know is Keith Baker says that I'm the one that arranged it.
Well, this building is obviously stressing you out. You might be better off just to sell it, take the money and run. Just saying.
Well, I will remind you of the 14th Amendment. I have the right to life, liberty, and to own property with peaceful enjoyment. And that's the part I got a problem with.
Okay,
You might think
but
it's
this seems
easier
like
to
a big
sell, but I don't.
stress in your life.
Why am I going through this stress? Why? That's the part I don't understand.
Something stresses me out in life, I get rid of it.
Well, that's easier said than done, and you're not me. Sorry, can't agree with that either.
so when you were given 48 hours to remedy a dangerous situation, you did nothing.
On Father's Day weekend, and Samantha Albright told me to get just anybody to come down there this weekend. I'm not doing that. So yeah, you're correct. I didn't even give it a second thought because I've been on construction crews, I've been on roofs, I've been de-shingling roofs before, I've been pouring concrete, pulling concrete. I pulled concrete on that whole parking lot down there.
When-
I've been building barns all my life and I know better. than to
When
hire
Monday
somebody to come in
came-
there and pull that plaster mat down on top of them.
When
You're right, I
Monday
did not give
came
that a
after
second thought.
Father's Day, you still did nothing.
I'm not gonna approach it with somebody going in there and pulling that plaster and lath on top of them. I mean, I'm not gonna change on that position. If the city of Coldwater thinks that's how it's supposed to be done, send your people down there and let it pull it on top of them. And then maybe they'll sue you and not me. It's just not a good way to approach it.
Well, I don't see how we can appease you, I guess, and move forward with this appeal. I mean, you've had 3 months. And all you've done is made an appointment with a structural engineer for an additional month. And then you're gonna get into the weather.
There's a whole lot more to it than you know. Do you sure you wanna go into all that? Because every time I come in this office, in the city building, they send me packing with things that do not help me move forward. Samantha Albright and I have had an argument for the last 3 months. She keeps telling me that I have to go in that building and tear out all the plumbing and all the electrical that I put in there. That went on for over 2 months. Finally, we sat down with Keith Baker and we decided that what I decided after that meeting, what she was talking about was when I put in a architectural plan for that building to turn it into a restaurant. all the permits were not drawn. They were never drawn. So these permits that were never drawn, the work was never done. But for the last 2 or 3 months, Samantha Albright has been telling me that I have to tear out all this work that was never done because it does not meet code. That sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? That's factual, that's what happened.
Your
How
bill,
do I move through that?
your
And we haven't
building
even
is,
got to the part where Robert Hawley took a swipe at me down there at the desk.
your building is dangerous. It's dangerous for you to be in there. It's dangerous for the homeless to camp out in there. It needs to be secured.
For any kid to wander in there or something,
What?
and for any kid to wander in there.
Yes, anybody. I mean, it seems that it's that accessible.
Come to the city building, because I've been coming here since last.
You
January,
need to
trying
secure
get-
the building. You need to secure the building, so anybody that wants to get in there cannot get in there.
I've said this for the 5th time, 4th or 5th time, I've done that, and they break the doors open again. I've done that. I can do it again, if that's what you think is feasible, I'll do it again.
It seems to me that that's your property. If somebody is injured in there, they're gonna come back on you.
That you're worried about some random person going in there and getting hurt. But you're not concerned about me specifically hiring somebody to come in there and pull that all stuff down, which if the beams are rotten, it could give loose to a widowmaker and it could all come down on top of them. That's not supposed to be my concern. My concern is supposed to be somebody else coming in my building.
If you hire somebody that knows what they're doing, I'm sure they could do it safely. A
You're
regular
sure
licensed,
without seeing your
a
building.
licensed contractor,
Not safe.
well, a licensed contractor could go in there and make his own assessment of the situation. A licensed contractor can go in there and make his own assessment.
Baker, I asked him if he would, before this meeting, come and look at that. I said, will you come down there and look at that and see if you agree with me? He gave me his word he would, and he's not even sitting here at this. I do not get cooperated with. I get talked to like I'm crazy. I get threatened to be thrown in jail. I get, no matter what I say is dismissed, and I get told stuff that what I think is trivial really doesn't matter. Now, how we're gonna get through this and move forward, I don't know, young man, but it doesn't look too promising to me. I'm not backing down and you're not backing down. You want the little dumb stuff get done, and I want the big important stuff get done, and everything in between can be, go to hell. I don't understand how we're ever gonna come to an agreement. Nobody wants to listen to me. Nobody.
Well, I think we've heard you this morning.
You've hurt me and you do not agree with me. You're more concerned with a homeless or a little kid going in there and getting hurt.
Which
I'm
it should be, correct.
If it were, huh?
We can end the discussion.
And that's what I just stated. How are we gonna come to an agreement? We're miles
We need
apart.
to,
What's important to you ain't important to me. What's important to me ain't important to you. If I said that right, I think you know what I meant. How are we ever gonna come to an agreement?
Why don't we start by just getting the building secure?
I offered that, sir. I offered that, sir. I said I can work on that. And it seems to be that we just dance it right through that, and we're just gonna keep right on it going. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, maybe you have a different perspective. I did say I could work on getting that secured. And I have had it secured before. And they come and they break the doors open. It needs to go farther than that. I need financing. I started last February with an Act 381, which is to provide, there's all kinds of government programming to give to people like me that have these buildings that we can turn into housing. There's a national housing crisis here. But I can't get past your lard ain't mowed, your this ain't that. I can't go to a bank with this kind of turmoil with a city building. How am I gonna get through a bank? It takes cooperation, not stumble. this is important, that's important, back and forth, all this back and forth is not helping me. I can't. I'm just like he said, I'm so stressed out, I'm nothing but a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Don't know which way to turn. I don't know whether I should do your simple, important things, and then maybe you'll settle down and leave me alone and quit threatening to throw me in jail when the city employees don't act right. I don't know what it's gonna take, but it ain't happening so far.
It doesn't seem to be happening this morning.
It's like this since last February. Every time I come into this building to try to get an answer and to try to move forward, I get sent out of here with a lie, something ain't true, we never said that.
Okay,
Over and over and over, and there's one person in particular in here that knows that that's
Ma'am?
gonna happen. Do you see her sticking up for me? No, you don't. Nobody's gonna stick up for me. I'm fighting, and nobody hears a word that I say.
instead of fighting, maybe if you worked with the plan, if you started on the Monday after Father's Day and worked to clean up the building,
I drove by there this morning
yes,
and, some of the debris has been removed.
okay.
Okay.
So the 10 days to
There's a few other
relocate,
items out there that probably should be, disposed of, but, she has,
There's one big item pickup, sir.
okay, some of the items have been removed.
Everything except for the things that are going on the curb for the big item pickup. And could I interrupt you for a second? Steve McMahon and me, about maybe a month ago, we had a plan about those big items. I said, Steve, I can just pull my pickup. I haven't had a chance to tell this to Steve yet, but he's so busy, it's hard to get a hold of him. I said, Steve, I can just pull my pickup truck back there and I can throw everything on there that goes to the big, and then I can piece it out on the curb. Oh my God, truck quit working. So I couldn't do that. But that was my intention, and then you wouldn't see anything. But
What is
those
the citywide?
those things are going out on the curb for big item pickup.
When is the citywide cleanup gonna happen?
Tomorrow, I gotta get home in time, I gotta get a call in today. Do I have till noon to make that call for the big item
I
pickup
think if you call before 3.
before 3?
I usually tell people that.
Yeah, that's what I think by noon. If I can get, and I get that call and I'm ready. If you drove by there, you see those things are ready, you just go right over the curb. You can take my word for that, can't you? And that's another thing I get told. We just can't take your word for it.
Okay, so, I don't know if the board has any other additional questions for Ms. Grashko. I do see the city manager in the back, if you have any specific questions for him, or if you have questions for our code enforcement or the city assessor, who is the director that oversees both the building official and the code official. You are welcome to ask any additional questions you may have, but the general role that you guys have here is to consider the appeal, and your options are to affirm the decisions and the enforcement actions taken by the city, modify them, or you could reject them based upon the testimony and evidence that you heard today.
Okay, I just wanna make a statement that, she apparently has a plan to get rid of some of the debris. But the number one priority here should be securing that building. And then apparently she has a plan in, October, was it? You're gonna have, meet with the engineer, okay. That'd be step 1 and 2. Secure the building and then, maybe we meet again in October.
I can do that. About securing the building, agree with you that, I will try it again. I will do this.
I mean, are you gonna be in the building working between now and October?
No.
Okay.
Almost. You going in
If
there.
you just put some plywood in and scoot it all the way around so that nobody could get in there.
Place where that needs to be done is on the second floor, it's on the back of the building, and it's right where it's gonna rock. That's why I asked Keith Baker to come down there and look at it. Do you think somebody should really go up there in that doorway? You can see it right from the.
You mean they're climbing up on top of the porch thing and then getting in through that open door?
No, they can't, no, hell no, they'd have to have a ladder. They'd have to
Right.
go up on
The
the
bottom
pole.
door needs to be secured and that top door could be, boarded up with a piece of plywood.
That's, weeds are falling in. That's why I asked King Baker to come down there and look at it. That tumor that was in my brain, I can't see very far, and my eyesight is wonky. But when I look up there, looks to me like a widowmaker. Do you know what I mean by a widowmaker? It looks like you can step on it, but I know I wouldn't advise it. That's why I don't wanna send anybody up there. That doorway is right where the worst damage is. And there's a chimney there, and there's, I don't know if
It doesn't seem like-
He can come down and look at it, but he hasn't made it there yet.
It doesn't seem like more time, it seems like more time is gonna elapse and nothing is going to improve in the building.
Number one. Concern at this point, is that correct?
Yes.
I can work on that, sir.
And I don't know,
Six-
From the building,
six
it's-
times. How many times I see
you can
it.
access through the building through the windows or not. I don't know that.
The window is part of the way boarded up. I might be able to get that and, get that little piece at the top, maybe, so maybe a bat or something will fall in there, I don't know. But the doorway, I really don't wanna send anybody into that doorway. And Keith Baker wants to come down and take a look at it, if he thinks it'd be all right to send somebody up there and he wants to take the liability for that. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I'm not gonna send anybody there, sir. That's my judgment, that's a liability, way too much.
I must not know Keith's abilities to do building inspection or repair or whatever. We need to do something about this. I'm not real comfortable about continuing this with, building's just gonna get worse. I mean, you've exposed it to rain and rain, and then it's gonna be snow, and nobody's gonna wanna go up on that second floor and work in snow and cold and,
So let's just do me before I even get started, okay? Let's just do me and just give me no way out, why don't we just do
Well, I
that?
think the way out was back in June.
Really?
Yes,
Because you know how I got this piece of paper right here? I chased Samantha Albright for 2 weeks to get it.
hand
She paid it the
delivered.
11th, and I chased her down on the 13th to get it. She wasn't gonna mail it, she'd go mail it out. I can't mail it to you. They don't make it easy on you around here, believe me.
Well, nobody's arrested you in 3 months.
No, but I've been threatened. I got it right here in writing, right here, where you're a lawyer.
Well, I think if we
Right here.
don't come to some kind of agreement, you can go to circuit court and plead to the judge there.
Oh, well, let's go to circuit court. No, you can't go to circuit court. What you can do is you can go to civil court with the city. Could I explain to you without you
No.
discussing me?
We
You don't
don't,
wanna know how it works, but you're telling
well,
me how to do this.
I know how it works.
No, you don't. No, you don't, because when you get over to civil court, you have different standards of how a judge will pass judgment. And when you get into civil court, it's passed by a feather weight. So when you get into civil court and you are a citizen, and these people that work in the city building, they are considered somewhat of an expert because they use it every day. And they know just what to say, when to say it, where they're gonna get that feather weight 99 times out of 10. I've been in court with them before. They know when to lie and when to lie out of it. And that's one of the problems. There's not enough honesty going on
What does
around
the
here.
board want to do? Joe?
Quite frankly, I'm surprised the building wasn't condemned to begin with, but the fact of the matter that virtually nothing has been done since June, trying to procure even a contractor
It'll
or
be 4
whatever.
months before she meets with who she'd like to meet with.
I'm not gonna send anybody in there till it's safe because of the liability. If you're not gonna accept that as an excuse, I think you better confer with.
But it's not secure, so anybody could get in there.
Ma'am, how's anybody supposed to work in there if it's not safe?
People say where to put jacks, and I'm not talking about a little bottom jack. I'm talking about a jack that will jack that up.
I understand, but basically what you're saying is it's safe for a structural engineer to go in there, but nobody else.
Structural engineer knows what's gonna fall on him and what's not. Of course he does. You think that's ridiculous? You think he's not prepared to go into that building? You don't think that a structural engineer doesn't go into decapitated buildings all the time? Who's gonna fix all those buildings in Russia? A structural engineer. Do you know a man named Olin Eugene Jack Armstrong? Civil engineer from Hillsdale, Michigan, beheaded in Iraq in 2014. He was a personal friend of mine. Yeah, I do know what a structural engineer is and what they're capable of.
Ray? You have an opinion on what we need to do?
My opinion is
Yeah.
the building must be secured and then we meet again later in October. And then,
Would you like,
go from there.
Ma'am?
I want to say that at this time, the building has been posted uninhabitable by our building official. I want to say last month, end of August that was. And at this time, the only thing we desire, because we do want to allow her time to get her ducks in a row to decide what she wants to do with the building and how it has to be repaired. So it is staff recommendation, if we can get the building secured and we have a plan for the junk and property maintenance, we are willing to work with her with the rest of the violations going.
So how much time do you think you need to get work started on that building?
oh, I'd say I probably have the doors locked up within a week or two. And I say my structural engineer will be here on October 15th. And then him and I would discuss what needs to be done. And as soon as he starts the process of where these jacks go, I'm talking about, that building will be a lot more secure. Like I tried to say at the beginning, if you guys can understand this for yourselves, once those jacks are in place, somebody starts pulling on something, not gonna feed in on it because it's jacked up on the sides.
I understand it very well.
Okay, that you understand that. And
No,
also,
they're there.
the structural engineer, I think he'll have a better perspective than me or anybody else in this room. That he can say, right here is the very weakest spot. Now, when your contractor gets in here, if he does it this way, he'll be safe. I think he'll have a lot more input to those kind of things for safety than you, or me, and Albright, or anybody else. That's what I'm expecting, because he ain't gonna be cheap, you know, he ain't $20 an hour, you know. They charge money because they are accepting the responsibility of the outcome of the project. That's what they do. That's what the engineer's input, that's what you're paying him for, that's what you're paying an architect for. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I
That's why
absolutely
they're
do.
expensive, because they're taking the responsibility.
I absolutely do.
And you agree with that, I suppose. They will, the responsibility will come off of me. And they will tell us how to approach this in a safe manner. And I feel much better.
Well, ma'am, if you'd have gotten a contractor in there to do the work, they're gonna have their own liability insurance.
I had a contractor in there and the city of Coldwater chased him off. Keith Baker called me a liar 10 feet from that guy, and after that meeting, he said, well, I got a dinner date tonight, I gotta go. And he was gone, and then I tried to call him, and what we had discussed before, he just gives me this, well, I can read you the text in my phone. He says, well, preliminarily, with what the city has said, you're gonna be looking at $600,000 twice, which I think I can really button it up for about $100,000. But we gotta blow it into this big thing that's gonna turn people. No, the city does not want to be reasonable, and they make it hard on me. Whether they want to admit that or not, that's a totally different thing.
Who was the contractor?
Who was the contractor?
Mhm.
Samantha May. He was there the same day that the city was there. I'm not very good on names, and I'm worse now from the brain injury. But his name was Vintage Rod Poll, and it's spelled Poll, just like the regular poll. Samantha May, remember some meeting in Samantha? There really was a real licensed contractor down there, remember? You, communicated with him? You talked to him, or he emailed him, or you knew that he was gonna be there? In fact, he's the one that called the meeting. I never called the city down there. The contractor's the one that called it down there in the first place. And after all that crap hit the fan, he wasn't gonna come back for one more minute. Not one more minute, he wasn't gonna come back. In a nutshell, that condition, the condition of that building is one thing. But honey, there is a famous man in this town. His name was Mark Donner. He went all over the coast of Michigan, Lake Michigan, buying shitty little cottages. He tore it down to 2 walls and then built a great big house on it. You can fix things like you wouldn't believe. You don't know that because you don't do it. And I don't mean that you in particular, sir, as an insult. I mean people that don't do it. And that roof has been. I came upon how to do this by having people come in roofers. And I caught on to it by one of the young Amish come in. And he said, well, this is my building. The first thing I would do is, he said, I would set jacks down this wall, this wall, this wall. He said, then I would jack it all up to the point where it popped all the drywall loose upstairs, and then I would be able to replace that all too. Well, what was he looking at? Cha-ching, this old lady got some money, I won't get every dime. When he said that, I thought, oh, he sees something that I don't see. That's the structure. That's where I was onto it. And then I had some other guys that come in and do roofs, okay? And then this other Amish came, and he was cool. I want to hire him so bad. He was very intelligent, and he brought his father. And then the oldest Amish,
Wish that we
he
do.
started talking about how you jack this up and how you fix it. These guys know how to
And
build.
this is gonna get worse before it ever gets better.
They know how to build stuff. I didn't just come upon this by,
Have you taken any steps to, contact this man and to get him to work on it?
oh, he doesn't license and the city won't allow him because he's an Amish. Keith Baker's already told me, don't have any Amish with, oh, they're so discriminating against these Amish, and they're so wise, and and these Amish now, they're coming into Save-A-Lot and buying all this junky crap that we eat. And it's not gonna be too long, we'll be knocking on their door. How do we can our own pickets? We're gonna be chasing them down for the way of life we're gonna need to survive. And I think everybody knows that's coming.
Joe,
I have a great respect for the Amish. They're intelligent.
what
and they're
would you
hands-on.
like to
They know what
do?
they're doing.
Well, from what I can see and hear, it seems to me that the city's saying they're willing to wait for her to get her structural engineer there. If she gets the place locked, well locked, not just bolt a door, just secured, then I think we ought to let it go till October, what was it? What's that date?
He'll be there October 15th, but he's just coming. Now they have to go back and draw and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what he says.
That's what I would recommend. I think
Well,
we need to
he's
know
gonna make a drawing and nobody's gonna go in there in the winter.
Correct.
So we're into spring.
Oh, they'll, lady, I don't mean to be rude to you, but about any contractor's gonna snatch that up in the winter because it's inside. And even though you think it's cold, it ain't for them if they're inside, because they're outside every day. I don't know if anybody in here knows anything about contractors. They're looking for something.
I'll make a
inside.
note of that when you come back and nobody will go in there and do the work.
I'll give you my word, I'll do my best.
I'd
Good.
like to make a motion to do what Joe just said.
It sounds
Re-
like a motion
Yeah.
to adjourn this and table it
Yeah.
until a later meeting.
Yep, the building secure, have the engineer and
And I also,
they're on October 15th, but then we need to give, maybe till the first week of November or something for some time you can get stuff down on paper. And then,
Once the structural engineer is there, I will report to Samantha or Steve or whoever at the city building what he said and what his timeline is and what he can, cannot do. Cause he's gonna tell us what he's gonna do. We ain't gonna tell him what he's gonna do. You know, that's. So he's gonna tell us and then I'll report it to the city in a fair, honest fashion.
Can you tell us the name of your structural engineer?
Can I what?
Tell me the name of the structural engineer.
Yes. Todd Dowd. I got his phone number right here. I just assume nobody talked to him but me until I'm finished with what I want and expect from him. Because sometimes when other people try to help me, it doesn't end up as being.
Where is that?
Oh.
Remember, we put your phone out there in the,
His name is Todd Dowd.
Thank you.
I can get the phone number to Samantha or something. I think Samantha knows that I wouldn't think of something like that. If I didn't have somebody lined up, I would tell you that.
I didn't ask that. I was just
Okay,
asking.
yeah,
for
his
his name.
name's Todd Dowd.
But in the meantime, can you also get a contractor lined up that would be able to implement his recommendation so that there's not another 3 or 4 month lag in anything happening?
I don't know if I could commit to that, I could try on that. I could try. But you know, you got this chick right here, I'm not gonna commit to something if I don't think I can do it, I just, especially, I feel like Rip Van Winkle. That brain surgery, and when I came back, things are just. No committed stuff, and I can't lie, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't lie because of my God.
So the structural engineer is coming on October 15th. He's gonna draw up a plan. You're gonna let the city building department know what that plan is.
Yes, babe.
And then we're going from there.
Well, we need some sort of motion from the board. If it's seeking that you guys would like to adjourn this, I don't know for how long. There was a suggestion of the first week of November. I don't know if you have another date in mind. There is a model motion, if you guys want to follow that. It ends with setting a new either compliance date, but if you guys would rather say adjourn this matter until a later date. But let's try to pick a date.
Depend on when the engineer can get the plans back to her.
We need to make a motion as we sit here today, and that's a thing we don't know. So my suggestion would be to set a date. So then you can come back together and either she will provide an update as to where she is at, or she will have some sort of presentation of, here are my plans.
Well, I sure wish, you know, she could have came here today with plans and perhaps even a signed contract with a contractor. I think, you know, it's been delay after excuse after excuse. So, you know, it's really, not getting done.
would you like to make a motion or something to move forward?
I think we need to meet again. But I'm gonna have to see some serious progress.
So after the structural engineer, she meets with him? Is that what you're,
However, you
wait till
know,
November?
however long the board wants to take to give a little more time and have things in place. And I'm so very sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off.
That's okay. And I mean, you guys can also kind of bifurcate and separate out issues. There were 48-hour securing issues, and it seemed, I don't want to suggest anything, but it seemed that the board was concerned about the immediate issue of securing the building, doors and windows that were open.
That would-
And then there's separately the issue of the structure itself. And you could make two separate motions if you wanted to say compliance about those securing issues by X date. adjourning the other separate issue to a later date based and allowing for Ms. Groshko to come back to the board with additional information. You
I'd
can
like
do
to
that.
make a motion to do that then.
Okay,
That the exterior of the building, doors and windows be secured by, I don't know, what's a reasonable time? Week, 10 days?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you, I want it to be a couple weeks, that'd be all right.
Okay.
you want to say by the end of this month?
By the end of the month, okay? All right. And
Okay.
then a second motion of, a meeting again and, I don't know, sometime in the first part of November.
Early November.
November. I'm not available November after the 15th though.
First motion.
Here's-
Yeah, yeah, maybe we could take,
Oh, yeah, okay.
let's get it out first.
Especially at 9 o'clock in the morning.
You're right, you bet.
All right, so a motion to have the building secured by September 30th.
Okay,
Will that be inspected by a city official to see that it is in fact secured?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can arrange for that. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
yes.
Any nays? Motion passes.
So then the meeting with the structural engineer and allowing a couple weeks for him to make a drawing and meet with her again. So when in November will you have a plan to go forward?
If you think that you would like for me to come back and tell you where I am in progress, somewhere around the 1st of November, I will do that. I don't know what he's gonna do or what he's. Men do what they wanna do when they wanna do it. They work on their schedule. You don't tell them what they're gonna do and when they're gonna do it by a certain time. I can't do that.
Well, you have an appointment on
This man
October
is gonna do what I
15th,
say.
correct?
His business is more complicated than we know. They gather big,
What date would you like in November?
anytime, pick the date. I'll come back and I'll tell you where we're at, but I'll tell you, I'm not.
November, we
on
need
this.
the
I think
6th or
I would've done
13th.
too.
Thursday, November.
6th or the 13th. From the 15th on, I'm not available in
So the
November
6th
and
or the
either.
13th. Yep, November 6th or November 13th.
Might as well do the 6th.
6th,
That
okay.
gives us a little time in your calendar.
Well, I'm gonna have to see some prints, documentation, something. So,
Well, man, that guy's not gonna get back with me in 2 weeks for the drawing. I know that's not gonna happen.
Okay, but can we get something from him saying that, he started on it and,
Yeah.
and then,
Charge me.
then
the
that
bill.
he's,
I'll get a receipt from me paying him and I'll show you that.
and that he could tell us when he would have approximately have it done, that we could, that he could give us approximate date of when he's gonna have the, drawings and stuff done.
Now you're asking me to let you put the pressure on him. I'm reluctant to do that. He's gonna tell us what his time frame is, and I'm not putting the pressure on this guy, cause he has a talent, the skill that I need. If you wanna see.
We just
his
need to know
talent,
that he's working on it,
It's time.
but we need to know that he's working on it.
That's fine. I'll show you where I paid him. If he's gonna charge me, wait till you see what he's gonna charge me. If he's gonna charge me, this guy doesn't even show up for what you call a free estimate. You know why businesses offer a free estimate? Cause talk is cheap. This guy don't show up for free. He's gonna charge me hundreds of dollars just to show up for the original, and then he's gonna give me an analysis after that. And it'll have to come out of his brain, and it'll be on his time, and it'll be against his license and his reputation.
So
That's how
November
we sell it.
6th at 9 AM? That,
Mhm.
We have a
Joe, does
motion.
that work?
Yep.
Okay. That was motion by Ray Heath.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
second that.
second. Do we have a second on the motion to adjourn until November 6th?
Yes, Joe, get
Make the
it.
motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, motion passes.
We don't have any. New business.
Hmm?
We don't have any old business, no new business. We can adjourn.
We can. I lost my agenda, but
Here you go.
I got,
Okay.
okay,
Are we adjourned?
yes.
Okay.
At 10:00.